Hi everybody, welcome to Simply Scuba. Here we have the Shearwater Petrel 2 titanium version. So this is a tough and reliable dive computer that a lot of other scuba divers have been using, especially advanced scuba divers, because it is just so easy to use. It has that color screen, it has a user changeable battery that you can sort of change all by yourself, and there's very little to go wrong in it. And they have recently updated this bezel to be made out of titanium instead of just a plastic polymer, which has just made it extra tough. Let's take a closer look. Right, so let's see what you actually get inside of the box. So this is how it arrives. So yeah, you get a reusable, one of those kind of semi-rigid cases. Comes with this little cardboard sleeve that you can remove. There is actually some, there's basically the quick start guide on the inside of that. So that's definitely worth checking out and reading once you sort of get to unbox yours. Box itself, you've got a cool sort of embossed Shearwater logo on the front and a double zipper. There is a little attachment D-ring just at the back, so you can clip it off onto things if you want to anchor it in one particular place. On the inside, so you get a section of foam, and that just protects the computer from travel, basically. In the top of the lid, a little zippered section, and then inside here you have a few little goodies. So you have a quality assurance checklist. Make sure that the computer's been checked by someone at Shearwater. You have a little package with 2 greased O-rings, and they're in a separate little Ziploc bag. A battery removal tool, so that's just something handy to undo it so you don't damage the battery compartments. An aluminium carabiner and a Bluetooth transmitter if you don't have one on your computer at home. This way you can sort of send data backwards and forwards between the Petrel and your computer. And then just a sort of information booklet, but you can also download most of the information online. Okay, then we get the dive computer itself, and as you can see, it comes fitted with these 2 bungee straps and some sort of Velcro tabs just to hold them in position. A little sticker, 2 stickers actually, and a warning about alkaline batteries, not leaving them inside of your computer, and yeah, 2 little stickers, and then a reusable box that you can reuse for whatever you want. So yeah, let's take a closer look at the computer itself. Okay, so the computer itself is a bit of a block. It's a pretty classic style dive computer, big, square, and with that sort of battery compartment. But once you're actually diving with it, it's not particularly heavy, so you don't really notice it that much. On the outside, it comes with a screen scratch guard on it, sort of fitted in the factory. At least this one did. The bezel itself, so this is titanium all the way around the side, so that's just stronger, and that's just going to protect the screen. The screen is sunken about 1 millimeter or 2, so it's kind of protected from sort of flat things. But yeah, as far as sort of bumps and scrapes, that titanium bezel is really, really tough. The body of it is made out of some kind of sort of plastic polymer, maybe Delrin, but again, very strong and resilient. It doesn't feel like cheap plastic. It feels very, very tough. Piezoelectric buttons on this, so there's no movement in these buttons, and if you're wearing gloves, it's still going to activate. Very, very clever technology in that. You have 1 on each side, 1 on the right, 1 on the left. This is your battery compartment, so you can unscrew that and get the single AA battery out from inside of there. And then you have these sort of bungee straps, which have these pinch clip releases on them. So these are going to become your wrist straps. So they're elasticated. So if you're wearing a wetsuit or a dry suit and it starts to compress, you still have that elastication to sort of protect it and hold it onto your wrist. As far as using the dive computer, very easy to use. Just to switch it on, you press both and you can see it illuminates. The brightness can be set to automatic, so it starts off very dark and then it can lighten up depending on your environment. So if you're out somewhere nice, clear blue waters, plenty of sunshine, it can actually save some battery life. But if you then swim into a wreck, it'll sort of adjust the brightness so you can always see it. So as you can see, bright, clear color display. You can customize some of these colors just to make it a bit more personalized. And you can also change the screen layout as well, to a certain extent. Now, using the buttons, very quick and easy to navigate. So as you press, it sort of cycles through more auxiliary information until you go back to the beginning. And then if you press the left button, it tells you what the right button will be doing. So turn off, select gas, dive setup, dive log, start Bluetooth, system setup. So if I just go into system setup, and then you have next for the left button, and then edit for the right button. So you can cycle through things. And it's quite intuitive once you get used to it, and very responsive in those buttons. So yeah, even if you're wearing thick neoprene gloves, the buttons are still going to work. It's even though there's no sort of movement in that button. So all in all, yeah, a tough dive computer. It certainly feels very solid compared to a lot of other dive computers, and with those sort of elasticated sort of webbing straps, yeah, very, very strong on your wrist. Right, so let's review the Petrel 2 and sort of how it's going to compare to other dive computers. So 4 different categories and then a 5th overall score. So first of all, we're looking at the understandability, how easy it is to understand the computer, what it's trying to tell you, how easy it is to sort of navigate as well. That kind of comes into function as well. The size of the dive computer. It's a fair size sort of dive computer when you compare it to other large green dive computers, so we compare that. The functionality, the functions on the inside and what you can do with it, and then obviously the cost. So starting off with the understandability, 5 out of 5, very easy to understand. Color screen, so as things start to change color, it sort of informs you so that you know, and then when you're navigating through, it's telling you exactly what the button is doing, and it actually, this kind of comes into function at the same time, but at different points of the dive, it's going to jumble up and rearrange the menu. So if it knows at this point of the dive, you're more likely to want this part of the menu, it will prioritize that and shift that up through the menu structure. So that's very, very clever. And yeah, there are very few sort of acronyms that you don't know that aren't spelt out. It's all very crisp, easy to see on the screen. So yeah, as far as usability, yeah, 5 out of 5. As far as size, I'm only going to give it 3 because it is a bit of a chunk. It is a decent size dive computer on your wrist. It does have a decent size screen, so you can have lots of information all on that screen all at the same time, and then you can cycle through things pretty easily. But when it is actually on your wrist, it is quite a chunk, and trying to get it through a shoulder strap as well, it could catch and kind of get in the way. So yeah, as far as size, yeah, it's getting 3 out of 5. Functionality, 4 out of 5. The only thing that it really doesn't have is wireless air integration. I know a lot of divers, especially the divers that this is really aimed at, the more advanced technical divers, they're not really interested in wireless air integration, which is probably one of the main reasons why they didn't even bother putting it in there. But otherwise, incredible. You have full customization, full control over everything from gradient factors to the different gas mixes. If you need it, it's in there. It's a very clever dive computer and very customizable. You can sort of have it set up exactly how you want it to be set up. You can have certain information showing on the screen. If you don't want it, you can get rid of it. You can have a big open sort of screen, or a bit more sort of fiddly and technical. Yeah, very, very sort of customizable. But yeah, the only thing that I can really think of that it doesn't have is rechargeable battery, but it's replaceable with a AA battery, so they're really easy to get hold of. Arguably, this is better than a rechargeable battery because, yeah, you just replace it with new batteries every time that you need to. And wireless air integration, which, if you're not really looking for that in a dive computer, perfect. Then we get to cost. So this is at the higher tier of dive computers. At this kind of spec for the more advanced technical divers, it is a relatively cheap dive computer. Mainly it doesn't have those sort of multiple wireless air transmitter connections, so I think they can make it a bit cheaper in that. But with a titanium bezel, a very solid build construction, and with everything that comes with it, 5 out of 5. So all in all, it's getting 8.5 out of 10. It is a very serious contender. This is a relatively old dive computer, and you can see that in the design, but they're still making it because divers trust it. It is a tough dive computer, very easy to use, and it simply works. So they're going to keep continuing it in the in its range. It had it's kind of like the newer, almost replacement in the Perdix, but they're still running concurrently, which means that people are still diving on the Petrel because it simply works, so it's definitely worth checking out. Okay, so that's the Petrel 2 dive computer with that titanium bezel, a solid, tough dive computer for almost anybody. The way that it's set up, you can start off with this kind of dive computer and just dive it like recreationally, get used to how it works, and then if you want to down the road, move on to technical diving, some pretty advanced stuff, you can still use the same dive computer, and because you're used to how it works, it's going to be that much more natural instead of having to invest in another dive computer. So it's really designed more for the advanced technical diver who really wants full control of their decompression schedule, all that kind of stuff, and different gas mixes. But yeah, if you're straight out of the gates and sort of entry-level diver, you could still use this as your dive computer. It is a good all-rounder, and because it has that AA battery, yeah, really easy to find sort of replacement batteries no matter where you are in the world. Definitely worth checking out. There's going to be far more information on our website, simplyscuba.com. There's going to be a link down in the description that will take you to it. Thank you for watching, and of course, safe diving.